Section 2, the CPT application process. Here's an overview of the CPT application process. It starts with receiving an offer of employment. Then you will register in the CPT-related course. After these two steps are completed, then you will submit your request in our ISSO Cystart system. An ISSO advisor will review your request and follow up if needed. Once approved, you will receive an email that your updated I-20 is ready. The CPT authorization will be listed on the second page of this updated I-20. Once received, you will provide this I-20 to your employer as evidence of your valid work authorization, and you can begin working from the start date listed on the I-20. Part 1. Receiving the job offer. There are specific requirements that the job offer letter must contain for a CPT authorization. First, we need to know where and for whom you are working. The company name and address should be listed. If you are physically working in a different location, such as remote employment, or if you are working in a branch office away from the company's main address, this should be specified. Then we need to know what you're doing. The job title and a brief description of duties should be included. If you have a copy of the original job posting that lists this information, then you can include that with your employment detail letter. This information helps to confirm that his work experience is directly related to your major and is thus eligible for a CPT authorization. Finally, the two most important items. The letter must contain a specific start and specific end date of the work experience, and the number of hours per week you are engaged in with this experience. The number of hours per week may be a range, so long as it clearly determines if the experience is considered part-time, 20 hours per week or fewer, or full-time, more than 20 hours per week. This job detail letter is important, as it represents a cooperative agreement between the student, employer, and Iowa State University. And there is specific information that ISSO needs to have documented by the company, such as what was detailed on the previous slide. If you go on to further applications in the United States, such as applying for an employment-based visa or permanent residency, you may be asked to provide documentation about your previous employment in the U.S. We want all documentation to match: the letter you received from the company, the authorization listed on your I-20, and the employment records that the company will maintain. All required information mentioned on the previous slide may be on the initial job offer letter that you received from the company. If so, that's great. You can submit that letter with your CPT request. However, if part of the required information is missing, then you will need to ask the company to either update the letter they provided to you or write a supplemental letter detailing your work experience. Part 2. Enrollment and the CPT-related course. As part of the curricular nature of CPT, students must be enrolled in a CPT-related course specific to their work experience. The course must be taken in every term that the student is requesting a CPT authorization, and the student may not drop the CPT-related course without prior authorization from ISSO. For undergraduate students, CPT experiences are typically facilitated through your college's Career Services Office. The courses will typically require a few short assignments that enhance your professional work experience. Commonly used courses are listed on this slide, although they are subject to change, so please reach out to your College Career Services Office or your assigned ISSO advisor for any specific questions. In rare circumstances, a CPT work experience cannot be facilitated by the College Career Services internship course. In these cases, the student may be able to arrange an alternative course, such as an independent study or special topics class with an overseeing faculty member, but this can be quite difficult to arrange. Please reach out to ISSO with any CPT-related course issues that you may have. For graduate students, there may be additional options. The most common option is to use a designated internship course. This internship course may be offered by your academic department, or you may use the full-time internship course GRST 6970 facilitated by the graduate college. However, please note that most departmental internship courses are exclusively for full-time work experiences, more than 20 hours per week for a duration of at least 90 days of the fall or spring semester. If your experience will be part-time, either fewer than 20 hours per week or more than 20 hours per week, but for fewer than 90 days of the fall or spring semester, then there is a specially designed part-time internship course, such as GRST 6980, also offered by the graduate college. Each internship course may have its own individual coursework requirements. Some may require a reflection or presentation about the work experience, while others may only require successful completion of the work experience to pass the course. While less common, if the work experience is directly related to or aiding a student's research, then they can use research credits to oversee the experience, and enrollment in a separate internship course would not be required. A common question we are asked is, if I'm doing an internship, do I also need to enroll in classes? On this slide is a table that lists what your enrollment requirements are based on how many hours per week you are working and how long your work experience is. In short, if your experience is more than 20 hours per week for at least 90 days of the fall or spring semester, then enrollment in the full-time internship course will automatically register you as a full-time student with the university. So no additional enrollment in academic coursework would be required. However, for graduate students, depending on your program status, there may be separate enrollment requirements that are enforced by the graduate college. Please reach out to ISSO if you have any questions about your enrollment requirements while engaging in a CPT experience. Part 3, Cystart application process. Since you are completing the CPT workshop, then you have already successfully navigated to Cystart and found where the CPT request is located. Great job. Immediately after these CPT workshop modules should be the CPT request itself. It is important to note that a CPT request contains 2 separate e-forms, and both must be completed before an authorization can be granted. First, the CPT student request e-form is where you will enter the details of your CPT experience and upload your employer letter. At the bottom of the form, you will list your academic advisor's name and email, and the form will automatically route to them to provide academic feedback. For undergraduate students, provide your assigned primary academic advisor. For graduate students, provide the appropriate faculty or department advisor who can provide information about your current academic progress. Depending on your department or program, this may be your major professor, the doge of your department, or in some departments, the graduate support staff may complete these forms. The second form, CPT Verification of Academic Purpose, is where we receive confirmation from the academic side that this work experience is directly related to your major course of study. For undergraduate students, you generally list the career services advisor you are working with or the instructor of the internship course. For graduate students, you will typically list your faculty advisor or the doge of your department. The request in Cystart contains many parts. Both e-forms will need to route to the academic side for feedback, and an ISSO advisor will need to confirm that your employer letter meets all requirements and that you are enrolled in the appropriate CPT-related course. Completing these steps will take time and follow-up may be needed. You are advised to start the CPT authorization process at least 2 weeks prior to your desired CPT start date to allow adequate time for processing. If your request is not approved by your requested CPT start date, then you will need to delay your start date and work with the company to arrange a new start date and an amended employer letter. CPT authorizations cannot be backdated, and you must not begin working until you have received your updated I-20 with CPT authorization listed on the second page. Once your updated I-20 with CPT authorization is received, please verify that the information provided is correct and provide this I-20 to your employer as evidence of your valid work authorization.